So, what's the real difference between a company that's built around one single genius and an organization that's truly built to last? When Steve Jobs passed away, a lot of people predicted it was the end of Apple's golden age. But they totally missed a crucial point. Something much bigger had been built, an organization designed to outlive any one person. Let's break down exactly how that works. So here is where we're headed. We're going to start with the ideal, a company that can outlive its founder. Then we'll dive into a cautionary tale of what happens when things go really wrong. And from there, we'll build up the solution piece by piece, from hiring the right people all the way to designing the blueprint for lasting success. All right, to really get what it means to build an organization that lasts, let's start with the company that became the ultimate test case for this whole idea. This was the question on everyone's mind about Apple. And the answer? Well, it reveals the huge difference between just having a bunch of talented people and having a truly powerful organization. So, how did they pull it off? It all comes down to one core concept. And that big idea is this: organizational capability. Look, it's not just about hiring smart people. It's the system itself, that unique mix of talent, processes, and technology that lets a company create amazing value over and over again, even if and when key people leave. For Apple, this wasn't some business school theory. Their genius wasn't only Steve Jobs. It was literally baked into the organization. They built these powerful, repeatable skills in innovation, design, and commerce that could outlast any one person. But this kind of strength is definitely not guaranteed. So now, let's look at the other side of the coin. What happens when the human systems, the very culture of a company, become a massive liability instead of a strength? On the outside, Nike had this incredible image of empowerment and peak performance, but behind the scenes, a really toxic culture was taking a serious toll, especially on its female employees. I mean, just listen to this quote from the New York Times investigation. This wasn't just unprofessional behavior. It was a clear pattern of harassment that made the workplace feel unsafe and just plain hostile. And here's the crucial part. This wasn't some big secret. Employees like Amanda Schiebel were reporting it, but the system that was supposed to protect them, HR, it just failed to act again and again, which allowed this toxic culture to just fester. Well, the dam finally broke. A group of women did their own secret survey and got the results directly to the CEO. The fallout was immediate. It was dramatic. It led to at least 6 senior male executives leaving the company. It's a powerful reminder that culture isn't some soft skill. It has very real, very hard consequences. Which brings us to the first pillar of building a better organization: hiring. How do you get the right people in the door from the very beginning? For that, let's take a look at the investment bank SG Callen. This motto, it just gets right to the heart of it. Every single hiring decision isn't just about filling a seat. It's a defining choice about the kind of company you're trying to be, the values you care about, and the future you're trying to create. Okay, let's look at their final 4 candidates for just 2 open spots. You've got Natalia, an analytical powerhouse, but there's a question about cultural fit. There's Martin, a natural leader, but he has 0 business experience. Then you have Ken, a proven performer who's looking for work-life balance. And finally, Andy, the entrepreneur with great people skills, but a pretty low GPA. Each one of them represents a completely different bet. And this gets to the real dilemma, doesn't it? It's not just about these 4 people. It's about the fundamental trade-offs every company makes. Do you prioritize raw skill over cultural fit? Do you bet on unproven potential? Or do you go with a reliable track record? These choices are what actually define your organization. So let's put you in their shoes. You're on the hiring committee. You've only got 2 spots to fill. Who gets the offer? Your choice says everything about what you value most when you're building a team. But hiring is just the beginning. I mean, once people are in the door, how do you actually help them grow? This is where great management becomes absolutely critical.
So this is Claudia, an engineering manager. Her challenge is that developing her team isn't a one-size-fits-all process. She can't just send everyone to the same training seminar and hope for the best.
Just look at 2 of her direct reports. On one hand, you've got Roberto, a technical expert who really struggles to delegate. His development plan has to focus on coaching and learning to trust his team. Then you have Julio, a high-potential star who kind of neglects teamwork. His plan is completely different. It's all about client orientation and collaboration. The lesson here is so clear. One-size-fits-all training just doesn't work. True development has to be personal. So we've talked about hiring and development, the people. But how do you build a system around them that can actually scale? How do you turn all that individual learning into a true organizational capability? I love this metaphor. Before you can start decorating and picking out furniture, you need the foundation, the walls, the plumbing. The exact same thing is true for a company. You need a solid organizational blueprint that holds everything together. And here it is, the 5 key elements of that blueprint. First up, organizational design, the basic structure of who reports to whom. Second, systems and processes, the routines that make the work repeatable and consistent. Third, leadership transitions, making sure you have the right leaders for each stage of growth. Fourth, the board, that's the group providing high-level guidance. And finally, number 5, culture, the intentional decision about who you want to be as a group. And that brings us full circle, right back to the question we started with. Is your company's success totally dependent on a few brilliant individuals? Or have you built an underlying blueprint, a true organizational capability that can endure, adapt, and thrive long into the future? That right there is the ultimate test of an organization that's built to last.